Hey, welcome in everybody. It is Pat here. It is July 26th, 2022. Welcome in and welcome to the Encore presentation of what I would do if I were to start a YouTube channel from scratch. I actually did this presentation last month and it was so successful. We had over 18,000 people watch it, both live and during the replay. And if you're here live, thank you so much. Welcome in. I see Dividend Guy, Barry, Charla, Prince Languages, Nancy, Valerie, and several others, familiar faces and also new faces as well. Awesome, you're here live, it's gonna be interactive, but even if you're watching the replay, don't worry, because I'm not gonna spend too much time on introductions. We have a lot of content to go over. I'm hoping that this is gonna go for about an hour, including Q&A, so I'm gonna go quite quickly. My partner Caleb is not here with me today. He's on a family trip. It's summer, it's when family trips happen. In fact, I have a family trip coming up after this, which is pretty cool. I hope you're all enjoying the summer, staying healthy, staying happy. But again, we are here to learn about YouTube. Let me know in the comments, in fact, if you're watching live, if you already have a YouTube channel that you've been putting videos into. You could start a YouTube channel just to have a YouTube channel and comment on other stuff. But as far as creating, let me know if you are a YouTube creator yet. And whether you are or not, I'm gonna give you some tips both on the beginner side of things and the advanced side of things to help you get the max value out of it. You know, YouTube is a very different platform than podcasting, than blogging. There's a lot of amazing opportunity, especially today. And my favorite thing about YouTube is that it has an algorithm, and that algorithm allows you to get in front of newer audiences. I think a lot of us who have businesses or are starting businesses want to get in front of newer audiences. On a podcast, it might be a little bit more difficult because there is no algorithm to put your podcast or your episode in front of people more organically. Well, that is possible on YouTube, and you can have 0 subscribers and your next video could go gangbusters. And I'm gonna teach you all the things that you might need to know today, some really simple and easy to follow strategies that are gonna at least give you the better chance of having that happen for you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the presentation here, and I'm in a keynote presentation. This is a channel that I started not too long ago, in fact, and as you can see here, it has already 236,000 subscribers, which is pretty insane to have happen in about 2 years, less than 2 years, in fact. And I'm gonna share a lot of what has happened here to make this happen so that whether you're starting a new channel or not, you can implement a lot of these things. A lot of people see the success I have with this Pokemon related channel. First of all, I was not a Pokemon expert. I didn't even know anything about Pokemon until right before this channel started. But more than that, a lot of people go, wow, Pat, this is an overnight success for you, this channel. Like, it came out of nowhere and you're just either lucky or you have some special sauce. The truth is, yes, it started fairly recently, but the truth is I've been on YouTube since 2009. So I always tell people, hey, although this channel took off quite quickly, I've been on YouTube since 2009. I've made a ton of mistakes and things I wish I didn't do back with my other channel, Pat Flynn. And I just so happened to create this channel in year 12 of my journey. And again, I'm gonna pass on a lot of this knowledge to you here today so that you don't have to wait 12 years before you start seeing success as well. Now, speaking of sort of success happening rather quickly on a platform like YouTube, this is a channel, let me know if you've seen this one before. It's called Dad, How Do I? From Dad, how do I tie a tie? Dad, how do I fix the toilet? Dad, how do I do this? I love the angle and the positioning that this person took, and the videos, the thumbnails aren't necessarily the best. The video quality isn't necessarily the best, but they answer questions that people have had. And this channel grew to 4 million subscribers since April of 2020. I mean, there's a pandemic opportunity if there ever was one. And 20 million views, which is really great. Practical dad advice for everyday tasks. And now this person has a book and some other things going on. This is a channel, Brady Brandwood. Now, you probably haven't heard of this person or this channel. What's really interesting is that this person started this YouTube channel in 2006, but something happened 7 months ago that just launched this channel into the stratosphere. And we're gonna talk about exactly what that thing was and the strategies we can learn from that, because something really incredible did happen. And it's a lesson that all of us can learn from. This person had maybe 20,000 subscribers 8 months ago, and now over 500,000, which is pretty insane. If you know what this channel is about, don't give it away because it's part of the presentation. And then of course, my Pat Flynn channel. This was the OG channel that I started in 2009. And again, it took a very long time. Most of these subscribers came within the last 3 to 4 years, even though I started way, way back in the day. And again, a lot of lessons learned. But I do want to take you back in time. You know how we do here. We always go into the time travel DeLorean in the time machine. And I want to take you back to my very first video. This was the very first video I published. And the reason why the video is this way is because I was afraid of showing my face on camera. You'll hear how timid my voice was. And it was essentially just a tutorial. So let me show you what this is. And again, it's like 30 seconds of just this screen while I'm talking. It's very, very crude, but I mean, we all start somewhere, and hopefully this inspires you. Here we go.
Hey everybody, this is Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income blog at smartpassiveincome.com, and I'm trying something out a little new today. This is actually my first video that I'll be putting on YouTube and on my blog, and I'm using some really cool tools that allow me to do some really cool things, which I'm going to be sharing with you really quick today. Now, you get an insider view of what's on my screen, and that's done via Camtasia for Mac. And again, that's how I'm recording this screencast right now. I'm also using something called a bamboo tablet. Now, bamboo is the name of the product. It's actually done by Wacom, and it allows me to use a pen instead of a mouse to navigate. So I'm using a pen right now. And the reason I'm doing this kind of goes along with the third tool that I'm using.
Yeah, so that was the OG website, and the very first video I created. Definitely kind of hard to watch and listen to. You could hear how I kind of was just explaining what I was doing. You don't need to do that. You can just get right into the content. There were a lot of things that I did wrong in that video, but the number one thing that I did right was I got started. I created something, and you'll hear this kind of story time and time again. You gotta be a disaster before you become the master, right? If you listened to the interview that I did with Marques Brownlee, also known as MKBHD, the most prolific YouTube tech reviewer on the planet, he said that his first 100 videos were for less than 100 subscribers. Mr. Beast, who's the fastest rising YouTuber right now, his first couple hundred videos were for under 1,000 subscribers, and now he's approaching 100 million, if not already there, which is pretty amazing. So again, I just wanted to give you some perspective. When you're just starting out, it's gonna be messy, it's gonna be gross, and again, there were like 1,000 things I already did wrong in that video, but you can't start pointing out all the things you did wrong. You got to go and just try. You got to experiment, you got to hit publish and go. And the cool thing is, you never know, the next video you publish could be the one that hits it. And that's what I love about YouTube. You never really know how a video is gonna perform. Yes, we could stack things in our favor. I'm gonna help you do that today, but the next video you publish could be the one, and it could literally change your life, right? Like, it could get in front of the right people. It could start this momentum for you. That's the amazing thing about YouTube. So here's what we're gonna be talking about today specifically. We're gonna talk about your channel in whole first. The very first thing that you should do so that you're not going in the wrong direction, so you're not wasting time. The best way to know how to make a channel that's worth subscribing to. Again, we're gonna get into the psyche of an audience, and that's gonna be really important because I don't want you to just start publishing videos without a little bit of direction. And number three, how YouTube's algorithm really works and how to take advantage of it. And that's gonna take us to your videos. Your videos obviously are the bread and butter of what makes a YouTube channel, and I'm gonna give you a breakdown of my two-part click and stick strategy. Really important for understanding to help at least give yourself the best chance to get viewers and get pushed out into other people's home feeds. Number two, how to generate a title and thumbnail that actually gets more clicks. Number three, how to hook viewers and keep them watching all the way through. And again, this all speaks to the algorithm and what YouTube wants from creators today and how they're gonna help you. And number four, the most important piece of data YouTube tells you to make better videos. The great thing and the hard thing about YouTube is that it is very data-centric. It provides so much data, in fact, that it can be often very overwhelming. So what I love to do, what I do in my course, YouTube from Scratch, what I like to do here is just show you all the bits and pieces that only you need to focus on right now. You can learn into the other things later, but YouTube can often be very overwhelming with all that you can do with it. Our goal, my goal, Caleb and I's goal in our course, YouTube from Scratch, is really to simplify, right? To remove that overwhelm and to get you to focus on just the bigger levers up front that will move things the most. And then you can sort of add those other things on later. And then of course, monetization, and more specifically, well, how do we do that? And a lot of what you're seeing today is in fact part of what you might see in my course, YouTube from Scratch. This is something that was launched last month. We closed the doors because we like to focus on the cohort of students in there. And the cool thing is we've just had so much demand to reopen it. So that course will be reopened right after this webinar for just 2 days, just a short window to bring more people in who maybe missed that opportunity or who want to get in now. But even if you don't, there will be some value that you can take home and actually implement sooner than later here on the YouTube channel, on your YouTube channel. But first we need to talk about some myths, things that likely you might think that may stop you from making progress in your channel. So keep this in mind because it's gonna be really, really important. Number one, the biggest myth that a lot of people have is that you need fancy camera equipment in order to make this work. And the truth is you don't. Better stories are what's more important than better camera equipment. Yes, of course, better camera equipment will help create a nice blurred effect in the background, create a nice wide angle camera lens like what we're seeing here. It might provide a really cool cinematic effect. Okay, cool. But if you don't have great content, if you don't have great stories, you're just providing really good quality to the not great stories that are out there or the not great showcasing of whatever it is that you're talking about. I want you to have better stories more than better camera equipment. Again, you can lead into that as you start to generate income. You can reinvest that in your YouTube channel if you want. But most of you have a camera that would do just fine for you, and that is your phone. In fact, many YouTube channels use their phone, including this one right here. This is Brady Brandwood, who I talked about earlier, whose channel exploded 7 months ago. He just had like 20,000 subscribers until he created a video called Keeping a Grocery Store Lobster as a Pet. Now, let me know if you've seen this video. It may have come across your feed at one point within the last 6 months. And as you can see there in the background, what's he using? He's using an iPhone, but he's telling a really amazing story, right? Storytelling. Very, very important. My friend Seismic, who's in the chat right now watching this, he tells great stories about Pokemon and going to find these kinds of things. It's very, very important. That's more important than better video quality. This guy, Brady, went to a grocery store and he decided to find one of those grocery store lobsters and bring it home and raise it as a pet. And he named it. He named it Leon. And it absolutely just exploded. We're gonna talk more about this and why it worked and some of the interesting things about his channel that we can all learn from in just a minute. But Leon the Lobster, that's the one. Leon the Lobster. So the myth is you don't need, the myth is you need camera equipment that like is professional. You don't. You need better stories. Myth number two is you need huge, elaborate spectacles to get views, right? Mr. Beast, you've probably heard of him. He creates these videos that sometimes cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. He did a thing related to Squid Games. He did one where he recently literally built a chocolate factory and then gave it away to somebody, right? So many people assume that you have to go big or else it's not gonna work, and that's absolutely not true either. Although we do see these videos, yes, spectacle is great. It's what gets clicks. It's what gets people to stick around, but it's not necessary to succeed. And again, you can lead into that in the future. There's Ryan Trahan in the middle here, overnight in the world's loneliest house. I mean, look at that thumbnail. Beautiful thumbnail. It just basically expresses what's happening. And now you're wondering what's going on. These guys from New Zealand, or I think Australia, how many giant balloons stops an arrow? Really cool question. Really random, but it makes you want to click on it. But we don't have the studio and millions of balloons to test these things out, nor access to a bow and arrow, or at least I don't, right? Nick says, a friend of mine here in Thailand grew his channel to over 100K in 10 months vlogging on his iPhone. Phone tech is all you need these days. Thank you, Nick. Everybody go check out Nick. He's another great creator who's been helping people with YouTube for so long. It's really amazing. Here's Brady's channel, right? This is the channel, and it's kind of random. If you look at a lot of the videos starting at the bottom, which big box store sells the best Venus flytraps? Then there's a rat rocket build, which is related to, I gotta share the screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, here was the thumbnails from these guys, but it's okay. What I was saying earlier, just you get the gist on that, right? But this is Brady's channel, the Leon the Lobster guy. Now look at the videos that were happening before Leon the Lobster came into play. And Leon came into play right there, that bottom one, right? So most of his channel was getting views like, 20, 30, 40,000 views. But again, he's been on the channel since 2006. But this video right here, the Leon the Lobster one at the bottom, 18 million views, and that's 7 months ago. And notice that all the videos that I've circled are Leon videos, and look at the views on those. And for whatever reason, Brady goes back to some of his other things, like repairing motorcycles, or some Native American related storytelling, and some stuff about Venus flytraps and hydroponics is a lot of what he was doing before. But every single video that's about Leon the Lobster has millions of views. What does that tell you? It tells you that, well, he landed on something that people are finally interested in, and every time he creates a video about that, not only do people show up, but the YouTube algorithm supports that. Right? One video leads into the next. If you watch one, you'll get fed the others. And that's because this has become like a series of videos. And it took him a while. It took him, 15, 16 years to finally nail it. but he nailed it. And I would recommend, if I were talking to Brady, to create more Leon type videos. He actually has swag about Leon the Lobster now, which is really cool, and other things like that. But Leon the Lobster has really launched his channel and has gotten him over 500,000 subscribers, which is pretty amazing. Here's Michelle. I love Michelle's channel. Michelle puts herself in situations where she's learning how to do certain things. And I love this too. Again, not huge spectacle, but interesting storytelling. So this is Michelle learning how to be a Navy SEAL and exactly all that's entailed with that. What does it take to join the SWAT team? I tried 911 dispatch. Cool. And it's not huge spectacle, but she puts herself in those situations and tells a great story and teaches along the way. Her infotainment goes a very long way. It's not renting out a factory and getting $500,000 from the bank in order to create these videos. It's literally just talking to people and learning what they do, but telling a great story as well. Here's my good friend Charlie, who is a designer, and she has a very niche channel for people who specifically are designers. And she's got 200,000 subscribers. I mean, you talk about the fact that you don't need to change the entire world, but you need to change somebody's world. She's chosen web designers, and she's attracted an amazing audience with her vlogs and as well as her information about how to be a designer. How do you do client work? How do you get paid when you don't get paid? All those sort of questions that this world has, she's been able to answer. And of course, you could see her themes, purple. She's got purple hair, a lot of cool stuff going on. So I just love Charlie and everything that she's doing. I've been very involved in a lot of bass fishing channels recently. Now, bass fishing is really amazing, and I've gotten really excited about it. It's like my release. It's my meditation, being out in the water and fishing. And I've obviously dove into the world of YouTube to learn about bass fishing channels. But there are several of them, right? So if you're going to create a bass fishing channel, like, how do you succeed? You have to niche down. You have to have a position or some specialty, right? So Tactical Bassin', these guys, what they do is they create a lot of videos specifically about different lures, how to use different lures, the different retrieves, all that sort of stuff. That's sort of their specialty. As you can see here, finesse swim bait tricks to catch more bass, for example. That's what their channel is sort of known for in the bass fishing space. And then there's this guy, Fish the Moment, who is a little bit more scientific in his approach, right? Here's how you fish certain lakes because of the water temperature, because of what's happening underneath the water, because of the season that we're in. And this is very much also based for those who have boats and who have electronics. As you can see, the sort of popular uploads are views of fish finders, right? So this is his sort of position in the space. And as you can see, 136,000 subscribers, which is pretty crazy. And this is Greg. This is one of my favorite bass fishing channels, but it's not just a bass fishing channel. It's not just Greg as a personality, but he fishes bass tournaments, and he shows a lot of vlogs about what's it like to join these tournaments. But it's not just about tournaments. It's specifically kayak bass fishing tournaments, right? So this is really interesting. It's so specific, yet look at this, 115,000 subscribers. He's sponsored by certain fishing companies now. They send him stuff for free, and he gets access to things other people don't because he's grown this position in the space of fishing, right? Which is really cool. So again, the myth that you need huge spectacle is not true. What you need is a targeted niche, and you need to create great stories that sort of support that. You don't need anything fancy or huge. Myth number 3 is, to go along those lines, you need millions of subscribers. The truth is you don't need 1 million. What if you just had 1,000, right? Like, why are we so focused on getting, yes, 1,000 subscribers gets you monetization on YouTube, but the truth is, like, you don't need 1,000 subscribers to have a very successful YouTube channel. You can monetize in other ways, and any video that you can create, I know Nick will attest to this, and Roberto Blake and other people, any video you can create can help a lot of people and be seen by a lot of people. And you don't need a lot of subscribers to make that happen. In fact, most of your views, if you're doing it right, are not coming from subscribers. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. You just need, what if you just had 1,000 people who loved and watched every single video? Well, you're probably gonna grow to a lot more as a result of that sort of approach. Now, the truth is anyone can YouTube, but you can take a couple different directions. One, you could take the long road of years of frustration and mistakes, or you can take the shortcut where you know it works with less frustration. So let me know in the chat, which one do you want? Do you want the hard route or do you want the easy route? Because I'm gonna give you the easy route, or at least the simple route, right? It doesn't mean you're gonna be successful overnight, but again, we're gonna stack things in your favor to get things to work. So good. Shortcut, hopefully that's what y'all want, because that's what I'm about to give you. Now, let's get started. The first thing I would do when starting a YouTube channel is to not start a YouTube channel, right? If you want to start a YouTube channel, you need to do some research first. You need to figure out who it is that you're going to be creating these videos for, right? As you saw with the bass fishing example and the others, understanding who it is that you're serving and why is going to be really, really key. And as I often say, the riches are in the niches, right? The riches are in the niches. And that means the more you niche down, the more likely it is you are to cut through the noise, the more likely you are to be seen as an expert, as an authority, the more likely you are to attract the right kind of people because you're not trying to please everybody. You just have a very specific kind of video. But the cool thing is you can also experiment. YouTube is great for experimentation. You could try certain things. And if they don't work, that's okay. You can just create another video. And yes, those videos will live in your archive, in your library, but you just move on to the next video and try to hit the nail on the head the next time, right? The riches are in the niches. The cool thing is you can create your channel about all of these things, your interests, your expertise, your obsession, your work, your talent, journey, passion, struggle, curiosity, your goal, your weird. Doesn't matter. But as long as you are you and you understand who it is that you're trying to create these videos for, it's gonna make creating your videos so much easier. It's gonna make your videos become more authentic, and it's gonna help you understand which videos to create too, because if you know exactly who you're creating videos for, well, what questions do they have? What interests do they have? What curiosities do they have? What stories would resonate with them? Create videos about that, inject your personality because nobody is like you, and you will win. You don't need to be the expert to win on YouTube. Case in point, my channel, Deep Pocket Monster. I'm not an expert in Pokemon, but I was able to take the things that I know are interesting and unique about me, tell a great story, and then of course the things I'm gonna teach you, the click and stick strategy with the title, thumbnail, etc. All those things combined has enabled me to find my way into this Pokemon community in a way that not even just doesn't compete with others, it complements others, and other creators will support the channel because I'm not in competition with them. I found my space, and that's really what's working. So for example, let's get into the examples here with my YouTube channels. The Pat Flynn channel, niche is entrepreneurship. But unfortunately, there's a lot to entrepreneurship, right? I created videos about way too many topics in entrepreneurship, and as a result, I've struggled. This is why it took almost a decade to finally get this channel off the ground, right? Do we get the replay, says Melissa? Yes, it'll be immediately available as soon as this is done. So, take this for example. I create a video about podcasting. Cool. People see it who are interested in starting a podcast. Great. They see some of the other videos that are interesting to them about podcasting. Cool. And then I create a video about something else related to entrepreneurship, like search engine optimization on Google. Well, those people who subscribe for podcasting aren't necessarily going to be interested in that. I mean, it is tangentially related, but that's not why they subscribed, right? People subscribe because of the videos that are coming, not because of the videos that they just watched, right? The video they watched is sort of proof, but people subscribe because of the videos that they are hoping to get from you. I want you to keep that in mind. People subscribe because of the videos that you are going to create for them. So when you are all over the place, you're trying to please everybody or hit every single thing, well, if not every video hits the nail for that particular audience, then that's going to do a few things. Number one, they might not watch the next video after, even if it is relevant, because not all your videos are. It also does things related to the algorithm. If people come across your video, but they're not clicking on it, well, then that signals to YouTube, hey, maybe we shouldn't send this video to as many people because people who we do send it to aren't clicking on it, right? So the more that you niche down, this is why this is important, why we're honing in on this at first. When you understand who your audience is, what their likes are and dislikes are, it's going to be much better. So these are the topics that I created videos for on the Pat Flynn channel. A lot of different topics. There are channels specifically about each of these things only that actually have more subscribers, that are actually doing better. But I came at this with these are all the things I know. And again, I didn't know what I was doing. So because of this, most of my viewers are come and go, right? So Robert says, so is the answer multiple channels? If you want to, A, talk about all those things, and B, burn yourself out, then yes. I would recommend starting with one channel. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't or I shouldn't create videos about all these things, but I was speaking to somebody who was only interested in one thing in one video and only interested in the other. There has to be some sort of connector, right? Some sort of connector between them all. People don't subscribe because of the video they just watched. They subscribe because of the videos they're going to watch, right? So here's an example of somebody who's very clear, pun intended, with what it is that they do. The clear value tax. This person got very popular during the pandemic because all he was doing was creating videos almost daily about what was going on during the pandemic related to people's stimulus checks, where to go get them, how to get them, whether people got them or not, all that was going on. I found this channel during the pandemic because of the Payroll Protection Act and things that were related to my business to hopefully get some money and whatnot to support the pandemic and things that weren't going so well as a result. So this person, they didn't have the best video quality. They didn't have the best audio quality, but you know what? He answered questions. And as you watch these videos, if you were to watch these videos, you would see that he's very relatable. Because during the pandemic, I remember watching his videos. The reason I connected to him was because he was almost just as upset as I was. He almost has this attitude of, oh, fine, okay, the government's doing this thing again. Let's figure this out together, gee whiz. And you were just like, yeah, right? Like, thanks for leading the charge on that. He wasn't coming at it from the angle of the fact that like he knew everything, although he did. He came at it from, hey, we're in this together. Like, let's just go through this together and figure it out so that you know what to do. Because that's my specialty in tax, is figuring this all out, right? So you have to be able to fill in this blank. My YouTube channel is different because blank. My YouTube channel is different because blank. Following other channels is one of my favorite things to do. This is what I did when I started the Pokemon channel. Before diving in, remember, the first thing was not to create a YouTube channel. It was to understand who exists already. You kind of have to figure out, well, if you're going to stand out from the crowd, you need to figure out who is in that crowd. And in the Pokemon space specifically, and Seismic and other Pokemon friends who are here, you might know this, but there are people who are very much seasoned in that space already, right? SM Pratt, who has an incredibly large collection, and he's into the trophy cards, and he knows like all these stories about all the history about Pokemon and Pokemon cards. Can I compete with that? No, I can't. So I cannot position myself against that because I'm not that person. I did not grow up with Pokemon. I grew up with Magic the Gathering, right? There are people like PokeRev who have massively huge collections, and they open these things every single day, and they get access to all these old vintage cards. Do I have access to that? No, I don't. I have gotten my hands on them before, but that's not what my channel is going to be about. So I had to learn about what was in this space already before figuring out, well, what can I contribute and how can I contribute? So I take the stance of, I'm not an expert, but I'm going to provide some information and entertain you along the way. I'm going to get the community involved in ways that often others aren't thinking about. And I'm going to tell some stories in ways that others aren't able to do. And yes, I also know that I have some good camera quality and storytelling capability, and we wanted to take that or use that to my advantage as well. All right. So follow other channels, and you'll just know. The other thing about this is YouTube will tell you who else is in that space as well. The more that you watch about the videos that you are thinking of sort of joining against or joining with, YouTube will be like, hey, you should watch this video too. I recommend this one. I recommend this one. Your home feed will, like mine, will probably be a lot of Pokemon stuff if you're doing Pokemon stuff. But you get to know who the players are, and you get to analyze them, and you get to understand, well, why are they showing up? How can I show up too, right? Read the comments. This is a great thing to do in other people's videos. Read the comments to see what people like or dislike. That was very clear to me in the Pokemon space, why people followed certain people, and I can incorporate a lot of those things or pay attention to those things and then keep out the things that people disliked as well. And use YouTube's engagement graph to see what parts of videos people rewatch. This is a pretty ninja hack here. Here's one of Leon the Lobster's videos. And this actually is for both mobile and desktop. I thought it was just desktop, but it's mobile as well. You see those little waveforms that are there next to the timeline? They look like, I don't know, sound waves. They're actually engagement waves, right? These things right here. These will tell you in somebody else's video what parts of the video are the most replayed or most engaging. Can you imagine how useful that information is for somebody creating a new YouTube channel? Right? So go into other people's videos in the space that you're in. See what parts, right? In the Pokemon space, I was doing this and seeing that people loved when certain big cards were revealed. People were skipping over a lot of the common cards and wanting to just see the big hits, right? So that sort of played a role in a lot of decisions that I made with how I film my videos, right? Chrissy says those waveforms aren't on all videos yet. Yeah, certain videos have to have a certain number of views and in order to have enough data to use. So thank you for that, Chrissy. They're not on all videos, but keep exploring and you'll see these things. And they're very, very powerful for you as research as you begin to create videos for your channel. So the big thing about the way YouTube works is if you help YouTube succeed, well, guess what? They're going to help you succeed. Right? If you do what YouTube wants you to do, YouTube will do what you want it to do. And the way to win is to create videos that keep people on the platform, right? That's really it. If you can create videos that keep people on YouTube, they will help you. Why? Because what's YouTube ultimately? It's a business. How does it run their business? They run ads. Ads are a result of views. So if you help YouTube keep people on the platform, then YouTube's going to make more money and YouTube will reward you for that. The more that I've really considered that thought, right? Minus the sort of big corporation, like, yes, all those things, they're on my mind as well. However, my channel has grown when I've done what YouTube wants, and that is to get people to stick around after clicking a video. And this is where the click and stick strategy comes into play. This is what we're going to dive into now. This is a lot of the hands-on stuff, a lot of the tangible stuff that you're going to put into your channel as well. So let's talk about the click first. Very, very important, obviously. And this has two parts: the title and the thumbnail of your video. The title and thumbnail of your video. Actually, the thumbnail, more important than the title. The reason is because, as you can see here on the right-hand side, this is what people see on their phones. Most people are watching videos on their phones, and they scroll through, and they see the thumbnail and title sort of together, but the thumbnail is what's going to capture a person's attention. I remember in 2018, I went to a video conference called Vid Summit. It's a great one, by the way, if you want to get even more serious about YouTube and even meet some celebrities in the YouTube space. So Mr. Beast was going to speak there. And I was so stoked because I was like, oh, great. I'm going to learn all the secrets about Mr. Beast's YouTube channel and how he grows it, like what little secrets and hacks that he does. The entire 1.5 hour presentation, this was a keynote presentation at this event by Mr. Beast. The entire 1.5 hour conversation was about thumbnails. And at first I was like, oh gosh, this is like, we're getting so deep into thumbnails. What about anything else? Well, the truth is there wasn't much else because the thumbnails means clicks. Now, obviously you need a good story, and we're going to talk about the hook and getting people to stick around, retention, etc. But you need to get that click, because if you don't get that click, the rest of the video doesn't matter. You might as well not even created the video, right? This is where the data comes into play with relation to what YouTube offers you, and that is impressions and then click-through rate. When we publish a video on Deep Pocket Monster, if it doesn't get a higher or a high ranking, because YouTube will show you, hey, how's this video performing versus your other videos that you previously published, your previous 10. If it's 7, 8, 9, or 10 out of 10, we immediately change the thumbnail, because that's it. That's the only thing. It hasn't even had time to go out there and get people to watch it all the way through yet. But we do know that based on the click-through rates that it's low, so we change it, because doing that change up front, if it's not working well, can mean exponentially that many more views and that much more reach later. Not just views, but is YouTube going to push this out for us later? Really depends on, well, first, are we getting that click, right? So your videos might as well not exist if people aren't clicking and seeing on it. And the secret is actually to start with the title, right? Start with the title. This is how we approach our videos, and it's a very counterintuitive thing. When I used to write blog posts a lot, and even podcast episodes, I would create the content and then figure out what the title was after. And that was okay back when there was less worry about so many people fighting for everybody else's attention, right? But now we take a different approach, and that is start with a title. If the title is not interesting, if the title is not about a topic that could get a person to click or me interested to film it, then we don't even film the video at all, right? That's just how it is. And it seems so weird, but we actually, so we have a bucket of ideas, but then we try to figure out a title, and then we create that video based on the title. And I'll show you some examples of how just focusing on the title first, in fact, completely changed what the video ultimately became and has led to a lot of success. So here is the Brady's channel, the Leon the Lobster channel, right? Now look at the title and thumbnail for his previous videos. Hiking to an old plane. The 1985 KX125 restoration project. Rebuilding an engine completely. On the Quarry Farm, remastered. Atlantic Sea Nettles. I don't even know what that is. Are those like jellyfish? Oh, geez. I'm doing so terrible at showing you the screen, aren't I? All right, so here is the, sorry about that. I'm flipping back and forth. I'll stop doing that. So here is the video library for Brady from Leon the Lobster. And you can see these titles and thumbnails aren't really doing much. The Koi Farm, Atlantic Sea Nettles, building an inexpensive trickle filter, a lot of just probably what's on this person's mind and what he's up to, right? But then, boom, keeping a grocery store lobster as a pet. I want you to consider that title and just how interesting that is. This video exploded because of the title. Because the title makes you wonder, it makes you think, it's different. And the thumbnail is not the best. I actually don't recommend having the title match the words that are on the thumbnail. But we do see a lobster and it's a close-up shot and he's got that rubber band on that claw, which is very indicative to a grocery store lobster. So that worked. But it's the title here that's really doing it. Keeping a grocery store lobster as a pet. 18 million views. I mean, compare that to all the other views that he's had. It's probably 5 times more views than he's had overall on his channel since 2006. So we're gonna do some exercises here. Here are 4 different titles that I was coming up with for a video that I then filmed, right? So A, this question helps me live a better life. B, this one question you need, or the one question you need to ask yourself to succeed. C, how Tim Ferriss changed my life with literally one question. And D, life-changing advice that I use to find success. So mind you, this is the Pat Flynn channel, which is built to entrepreneurs, built to help entrepreneurs. Which of these are more interesting to you? I'm curious. We're gonna do a little survey here, A, B, C, or D. So I'm gonna tell you the answer in just a second. And the answer is in fact C. How Tim Ferriss changed my life with literally one question. That influenced the hook in the video. That influenced the title and thumbnail, right? Or the thumbnail. Now I can put Tim Ferriss in there. Tim Ferriss is a very iconic person in the world of entrepreneurship. And I created this thumbnail to make it as if we were literally having this conversation and I reacted right away. Now we did have this conversation. I was just telling a story about this conversation. And changing my life with one question, it makes you wonder, it makes you curious about this. So this had all the right sort of things in it in order to have the best chance to succeed. And it did well. In just 10 months, it's seen over 100,000 views, which is significantly higher than every single other video that I've created within the past 10 months. And look at the text that I used in the video as well. He was right. Large faces, he was right, which complements the title. One question, he was right. It makes you want to click on it, right? Curiosity about Tim Ferriss and what he had to share. Exactly, Chrissy. Okay, let's do it again. You guys are good in this one. This is the Pokemon channel. Again, this channel targets people who are interested in Pokemon cards, and it's not just kids. In fact, most of my audience are men between 25 and 34. So A, 5 tips for storing your Pokemon cards. So this was the idea was people were asking a lot of questions about, well, how do you store your cards? So these were different ideas for titles about doing that. So A, 5 tips for storing your Pokemon cards. Very generic, we see that all the time. B, the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder. C, this is how I store my Pokemon cards in a binder to last longer. So let's see what y'all got. So a lot of B's and C's. A, yeah, it gets right to it, but that's not going to intrigue a person who perhaps is not interested in storing Pokemon cards. Remember, many people already they already have their own way to store Pokemon cards. They don't necessarily want to change. But B is going to make you curious about whether or not you're doing it right or not, right? The correct way. And look at the look at the thumbnail. That card is much bigger than the slot for the binder, but that is a very iconic card in the world of Pokemon, so I blew that up, right? As you can see, there's not much going on in these thumbnails. Clear, large imagery that captures attention, right? And then the text here says, you're storing it wrong. I'm calling you out. And it makes a person want to click on this because they're likely storing cards too and going, wait, am I doing it right? The correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder. Jeremiah has a good one too here, right? You're ruining your cards in storage. That's okay, but that one's okay. But the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder infers that a person's doing it incorrectly, and now a person's wanting to know why, right? I would add how you're ruining your cards in storage, or how your storage is ruining your cards would be better. So in many cases, your title will change how you create the video. And that's what I love about this, because you can then create the video that supports the title. When people click on the title of a video, there's an expectation, right? Which is why it's very hard to go the other way around. When you create the title afterwards and the thumbnail afterwards, you have to like force it, and you almost kind of create something that maybe actually a little bit too exaggerative to try to get the click. And then you do get the click because you did a good job on the title and thumbnail, but then it doesn't match the video as well, and then people leave. So when you start with the video, or when you start with the title and then you create that video, they all sort of lead into one another, right? So here's an example. This was an original idea for a video on the Pokemon channel. How to package and ship your cards without damage, right? How to package and ship your cards without damage. Kind of an interesting thing. It answers a lot of questions, and it was okay. But then we came up with a different idea, because we were like, how do we tell a story here? How do we get people to stick around to the end? What if a person's not even that interested in, like, what if they don't even ship cards? Might there still be a way for us to share that information, but have it be interesting enough for a person to watch? So we created this. Which Pokemon shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most? When we came up with that title, we knew it. We just knew that this video would perform well. And we knew it would also be fun, and it would be different, right? Think about the video that is titled How to Package and Ship Your Cards Without Damage. Imagine that video being produced. I'm showing people how to package cards, and it's like, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Not the most interesting thing in the world. But this video, which shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most, now there's something at stake. Now there's a reason to stick around to the end, because you want to find out the answer. And guess what? During this video, I teach people how to package and ship your cards without damage, right? So what do I use to make thumbnails? Canva. Super easy. Super, super easy. But you can see now that we have which shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most, now my hook is going to be different. Now what I actually do in the video is going to be different. I actually had the idea as a result of this to put AirTags, Apple's AirTags, inside each of these packages so we can see where in the world they are until they get to the destination, right? It also gave me an idea to go to the person in the Pokemon space who ships the most cards more than anybody and have him be a part of the video as well. So the title first changed everything. How to package and ship your cards without damage. I didn't want to film that video. That was boring. And if it's boring to me to film, it's going to be boring for a person to watch. But which shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most? Man, I mean, that's a legitimate answer that people are probably very curious about. So I get more clicks and I get more people to stick around, right? Good. All right, so here's the plan. Take your seed idea for a topic. Maybe it's a question that a person might have, or just an idea that you have, knowing what would be helpful for your audience. Brainstorm 5 clickable titles for it. Paula says, this is so helpful. Title first is my new strategy. Awesome, Paula. It helps so much. It absolutely helps so much. Because then you get to make the video that's fun. So take a seed idea or topic, brainstorm 5 clickable titles for it, pick the most intriguing one to start with, and create that thumbnail, right? You can also test. I know a lot of people who have communities that I think this is really smart. We should be doing this more in our Pokemon Discord, in fact. Hey, here are 2 titles of videos. Which one is most interesting to you? And what do you think that video is going to be about? That's a great question to ask a person if you have a title idea. Go to another person and just say, hey, what do you think this video would be about? Or what do you think would be involved with this video? And it's just going to help you with the creation of that video, changing the title so it's more clear, etc. Because if it's not clear to somebody else, or if it's not exactly what you want, you can change it before you actually publish. And if you can't get a good title, the truth is, move on. Kundalini says, how do you come up with these more engaging titles? Go to your own, go find other videos and see, well, why are these videos doing well? Look at the titles of them. A lot of the titles that I have on my videos are a result of getting inspiration from other channels. I don't copy their titles, but I use the sort of same framework and same idea, right? So you can get a lot of ideas from there as well. The thumbnail. I use Canva, patflynn.com/Canva if you want to check it out. Again, just really, really great. You can remove backgrounds. You can just pull from their library of symbols and things, like this arrow came from Canva. Super, super strong. The less detail, the better. I've learned to use like 3 items max inside a thumbnail. Any more than that, it's just gonna be a mess. And again, remember, people are seeing these thumbnails at a small scale on their phone. So the less stuff, bigger space, or bigger versions of those things, the more likely it is to capture a person's attention. You don't have to show your face, but it can work in many cases. People stop to look at faces. People stop to look at action happening. It doesn't have to be a frame from the video. In fact, most of the thumbnails, every single thumbnail I do now is not pulled from that video. It's actually a still photo that was taken as if it was an action that was happening in that video, if it is that type of thumbnail. That way we can get it just right and have, I think about the color of the shirt compared to the color of the background. Just, again, you learn these things over time. You don't need to nail it. I know some people who spend, 50 hours per thumbnail. That's maybe a little bit too much, but you do want to spend some time on it. I know some people who just let YouTube pick the thumbnail. No. That's an absolute waste of time, right? Text to support the title. Do not reuse the same text. So, the correct way to store your Pokemon cards is the title. You're storing it wrong. And then, again, this Charizard in particular is very eye-catching and one that people in this space are very familiar with. So, again, it captures their attention. And design a few ideas per video. The other thing I want to say is, with title and thumbnail, before we move on to sort of the stick part of this, the second half, is you have to be a little clickbaity. Now, when I say that, you might have a little bit of anxiety, because I think a lot of us, our familiarity with that word clickbait is that it's for bad, right? That it's fooling people. The truth is, you have to work a little bit harder to get the click so that you can provide value, so that you can actually get a person to watch that video that you know is going to help them or entertain them and make them happy today, right? What you don't want to do is clickbait and switch. That's not good. Hey, look at this thing, click on it, and then it's something completely different. You've let a person down. You have to fulfill the promise of the title and thumbnail, and that's where it's not even click and bait anymore. It's actually legit bait, as there was a channel called Veritasium who coined that term. Legit bait. You have to legitimately bait people, but it's so that you can serve them, right? So there's a very nuanced sort of mindset and approach with that. But as you can see, like with this thumbnail here, it is a little clickbaity. Like I'm telling people they're doing it wrong. But what this does is it introduces people to this new concept of storage, and it helps people understand how to do it better so that I can help them, right? So that I can help them. Tina says, I love the bright colors of your thumbnails. Bright colors work. A lot of contrast works. You'll see a lot of these thumbnails that you're like, you don't actually look like that, but it's done that way to capture a person's attention. A little bit more white in the eyes. The teeth are maybe a little bit more white than they would be normally. Let's all brush our teeth a little bit more. But now I'm all self-conscious about what I have going on up here. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, that's title and thumbnail. A lot of what I talk about in the course goes even deeper into that. You do from scratch, but we're going to move on to the next section here, which is about the stick, right? The stick. Rob says, so awesome, my talent and CEO is watching this. Nice. Clickbaity means intriguing, right? The stick. So we got the click part, the title and thumbnail. Now it's the stick. And the stick also comes in 2 parts. The hook and the retention, right? The hook is what happens in the beginning of the video. The retention is what keeps them around after they've sort of gotten into it, right? YouTube will not push your video to new viewers unless they know people are willing to stick around and watch. Let me say that one more time. YouTube will not push your video to more people if they see that people are clicking on it, but then leaving. Why would they push your video out if people who are spending time there are leaving? They might leave the platform. And that's not what YouTube wants. They want people to stick around. So if you get people to, level 1 would be to watch your videos, like a good amount of time. Cool. Level 2 would be to watch all the way through. Level 3 would be not just to watch all the way through, but watch the next video and then the next video after that. That's why series of videos works well. That's why Leon the Lobster is crushing it, because he's got 7 different Leon the Lobster videos right now, and they all lead to one another because people want to know what happened to Leon, right? So how might you take advantage of that? Keep that in mind. Hook plus retention. So the hook. The hook is a hard one because I know a lot of us want to describe who we are and what we could do for people. I know a lot of us want to welcome people back to the channel. No. I'm taking a big stand and saying, forget all that. You don't need the branded intro with the stinger and the nice music and your logo. You don't need the welcome back. In fact, that's probably a bad thing. If you're doing YouTube right, more people watching your video are going to be people who have never found you before. So immediately, you are doing yourself a disservice by telling people who are finding you for the first time, hey, welcome back to the channel, right? You're creating videos for your subscribers, which is fine, but you need to create videos for all the people out there who have not found you yet. So what you need to realize is that people watching your videos likely don't know you and don't know what you're about and don't care about you yet. What they want is what they clicked for, right? Let me say that again because it's so important. People who find your videos on YouTube and are finding you for the first time, they don't care about you. They care about themselves. They care about what it is that they're hoping to get out of this video. So let's show them that up front, right? Let's show them that up front. Romulo says, should I change the title thumbnail of older videos that didn't do well? Absolutely. You can change them anytime. In fact, I have changed video thumbnails that were from 2012 before that have since just launched to the stratosphere, right? When you change your title and thumbnail, YouTube's going to go, okay, you changed your title and thumbnail. Let's see how this one works. And if it gets some good ground, they're going to push it out to more people, right? And they push it to different groups of people too. Like that's why you see spikes in impressions. One day they're going to be like, hey, we're going to try this audience who has this viewing behavior and see how they work with your video. And if it doesn't work, then it's going to be throttled. But when you change your title and thumbnail, you give yourself a new opportunity. Yes, so go to your older videos that you know are great, but just didn't have a good click-through rate or impression, or impressions, number of impressions, and you can go back and change them. Okay. When I hear this, I click off immediately, says Dawn. I appreciate you, Pat, soaking up as much info as I can. Good, Bobby, thank you. We got over 300 people watching, which is incredible. People's attention spans also are much shorter than they've ever been because of TikTok, Reels, Shorts, etc. So we have to realize that. Start the video by just getting right into it, right? The person's there to click to watch how to use a certain bait. Well, show them how to use a certain bait. Show it being used, and then get into the details, and then you can introduce yourself, right? Mr. Beast, again, I'm pulling a lot of inspiration from him. He is already in the challenge that you clicked for within 7 seconds in the video, right? His latest video is like, you know, I have 100 boys and 100 girls, and I'm gonna lock them in these rooms. Whoever has the most at the end wins. Go in the rooms, and they're already in there within 10 seconds, right? It's just incredible how quickly he gets into it. And then he offers the explanations. Then he offers the details. He doesn't even explain the rules until you're already watching the thing, right? Yo, Carrot Juice, you didn't need to do that. Y'all don't need to super chat. Or you being here is enough support. But Carrot, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you so much. Means a lot. So no long intros, no branded intro videos, and just, again, get into the concept of what people are there for. I think my dogs agree. Next, what's worth a person's time to watch your video and stick to the end? This is like with the, like what's at stake, right? What's at stake? What is the purpose of a person to stick, like, why should they stick around? You need to share that early on. And now, in some cases, it's inherent, right? With the Mr. Beast video, like, you need to stick around to figure out who wins and who's going to win this really big prize. But again, you don't need big spectacle in order for that to happen, right? Sometimes you just need to stick around to the end to understand exactly what's going on. Sometimes you need to stick around to the end because if you don't, you're going to miss out. But you need to be upfront with that. You need to have something at stake be shared upfront so that a person now knows inherently, well, why do I need to stick around? I think this is one of the benefits of like the Pokemon channel specifically. A lot of these cards, right, that we open up on the channel, it's a mystery pack, a Pokemon pack. It could be the big one on the inside. So people are going to stick around sort of inherently. What's your version of a pack of cards where there might be something good inside, right? So it might be an experiment or a challenge. That's why experiments, challenges, those things work really well because there is sort of a hypothesis, but then you need to stick around to the end to figure out, well, is this going to work or not, right? Retention. So this is keeping people sticking around as they go through, right? You get a retention graph from YouTube, which is really amazing, right? It's absolutely incredible what they give you because they'll literally tell you in the videos what people liked and what people disliked. Here's a bad example of retention in a video, and then here's a good example. Like over 50% of the people watching still are watching at the end, right? And then on the other one, it's like 20%. The cliff at the beginning of the bad one is just so steep. And then most people, 85% of people who click to watch this video are still watching after 30 seconds. Why? Because we give them some juice right up front, right? This video in particular was a video where I did a challenge with my son. And instead of just spending the first half of the video exploring the challenge and what it was all about, we just got into the story. We just got into the story of that video, and it's done very, very well. Oh, I was blocking it. Sorry about that. So here are some things that you can do to hold people after they start watching your video. Again, you had a good hook, right? But people will get bored. People have short attention spans. So number one, stories. Stories keep people around longer. We're just inherently born to listen to and follow through with story, right? It's just what we love as humans. Number two, create a reason to stay into the end. What's at stake? Number three, B-roll footage. B-roll footage is when the camera switches to something like in the background or some other video that's like about a thing, right? Like if you're explaining to the camera why you need to buy this microphone, but then it switches to a close-up of the microphone. Actually, a really good hack I like to use is if I'm doing a product review, use your iPhone or your Android phone, record on slow-mo, whatever item it is that you're reviewing. There's your B-roll right there, because it looks like beautiful, like a mini drone going over it, and you can just switch to that view while you're still talking. And that camera switching, just like I'm camera switching today, is a great way to interrupt the pattern, right? You just need something, I would say, within every 30 seconds to switch it up. That could be text on the screen, right? Coming on the screen. It could be a different location. Maybe you're doing 5 tips. Well, tip number 2, I'm gonna film over here. Tip number 3, I'm gonna go outside. Tip number 4, I'm gonna be at the lake. Tip number 5, I'm in my car. Switching it up like that just completely gets rid of the monotony of the video, and it just resets people every single time. Quick transitions, just like I told you. And number 7, check your analytics. What's working and what's not, all right? What's working and what's not. Shrifty says, so helpful. Are you guys getting some good value out of this? Let me know in the chat if you're here. I wanna make sure that there is value because we're closing in here. We got the monetization section, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about YouTube from scratch, which we're opening up again just until Thursday, in fact. We've had so much demand to get into this course that we've opened it up just for a 2-day period here, and I'll tell you about it in just a minute. But I'm so glad that you are getting some good love here, and it's so fun to see some Pokemon friends in the house as well. I love that. So monetization. Now, you will unlock monetization when you get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. That enables you to take advantage of AdSense, right? Google's ad platform that is on YouTube, and then you're able to sort of make money from your videos from there. So that unlocks at 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. And when you do this right, that'll happen naturally, right? But I wanna show you some other things, right? And here's the YouTube channel from Pat Flynn, or from Deep Pocket Monster. It's just insane. Since January of 2021, this channel has made over $100,000. And that's just from YouTube ad revenue alone, right? YouTube ad revenue alone, which is just, again, I'm so grateful for that. And I was not an expert. I just did all the things that I'm teaching you today. Brand deals are a part of this as well. I've partnered with various companies. I'm a brand ambassador for another company. I'm actually at a point now where I just signed paperwork to be an advisor to another company in the collectible space. That is just amazing. These things, these new doors open up for you when you put yourself out there, and when your position is clear, then it's so much easier for other people to understand what you have to offer them if there is something like a partnership or collaboration opportunity there as well. So there are brand deals that are happening where a company will pay me money to be mentioned on a video, which is very common. You don't need 1,000 subscribers to do that. And affiliate marketing, probably the easiest way to start generating an income by recommending other people or other companies' products, right? So I want to show you an example. This video here, which is a video about a tool called Descript. Descript is a really cool audio and video editor. It does some fancy things where it transcribes your audio or video immediately, right? It writes the text for it, but you can edit those videos or audio, like your podcast, by taking the transcript and deleting that text. It'll automatically squish those parts in the video or the audio together. Really, really amazing stuff. They also have a tool called Overdub where you can upload your voice and then you can type things out and it'll read it as your voice. The AI uses your voice. It's really scary and interesting. So I created this video here. Notice that I didn't say Descript's Overdub tool, let's explore, right? That could have been a title. No, I used a clickbaity title. This audio editing tool deep faked my voice. Actually useful or scary? This video has had over 1 million views since I published this 9 months ago. But not only that, as you can see there in the middle of the description, there is an affiliate link, patflynn.com/descript. Well, this video gets people to watch and then they click. They click that link to then join and check out Descript. And as you can see here, these are commissions. I've earned over $16,000 in commissions just from one video. Did I need to have 1,000 subscribers to have that video? No. Did I need to have the best camera equipment to do this or do something huge? No. I just described a feature of a tool that I use and inserted an affiliate link. Over 1,700 people have clicked and I've earned over $16,000. And that continues to grow, as you can see, over time, which is just absolutely incredible. So I want to ask you, what was the most helpful thing that you learned today? I want you to type it out in the chat because we talked about a lot of things, the click and stick strategy, a lot of the mindset stuff related to growing a YouTube channel, the fact that you don't need the best camera equipment, the fact that you can do this on an iPhone, the fact that you don't need to do huge spectacles, you just need to tell better stories. And we talked about a lot of things. And again, the replay for this will be immediately available to you. But as I said earlier, I have a course now I partnered with Caleb to create this, and it's called YouTube from Scratch. And it's literally there for the beginner who's just starting out. And I want to tell you about it if that's okay. Because, you know, the truth is, YouTube is a absolutely huge opportunity, right? But it can be definitely scary and overwhelming. There's a lot of other courses out there about YouTube, and they're great. And I'd highly recommend checking them out. But reducing the overwhelm is sort of my superpower. Right, and we wanted to do that with this course too. So that's exactly why Caleb and I, my videographer, and I created this online course, and we made it in a very different way. It's called YouTube from Scratch, right? YouTube from Scratch, and it's open again just for a couple of days. The approach that we wanted to take with YouTube from Scratch was this. You know, there are a million things you can learn about YouTube, and if I were to teach you everything there is to know about YouTube, you'd be in a course for 60 days straight watching 8 hours every day, and that's not what we want. We want you to learn something quick, implement it, do. Learn something, do. Learn something, do. And no, we don't tell you everything you need to know. It's only what you need to know to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's the goal. 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. And if you already have 1,000 subscribers, but you still perhaps might need a little bit of help or want to go back into the foundational stuff, then this course could be for you. But if you already have an established YouTube channel with thousands of subs and you've got the flow and you're looking for more advanced stuff, don't buy this course. Okay, don't buy it. But again, our goal is to help you remove the confusion, simplify the plan, and get you to 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. And you get lifetime access to the entire course, office hours with me every single week, and the SPI Academy, which is where you get access to other students and you can hold each other accountable. You can collaborate with them. You know, the last time we launched this was the first time, and it was massively successful. We had hundreds of students come in, and it was amazing. We closed the doors. And we always are true to our word. We close the doors and people wanted to come in and we said, no, we're going to work with those students closely to ensure their success and get results. And those results have already been happening for people. But the demand has been so high, we reopened it again. But we also wanted to offer an easier way for you to get in. You know, we charged a one-time fee before to get in. And many of you were like, you know, I would love a payment plan. So we also are offering a payment plan option for this too. So you can get access to all this. It's not drip-fed content. It's all available to you for just $169 a day. That's an absolute robbery, in my opinion, for the value that you're getting. And that's a part of a 3-month payment plan. So that's the first installment, and that's today. Or you can pay the one-time fee of $4.99 to get access to this. And you can get it at smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. 4,000 hours total Visual Arts Hub from the previous year. So it's pretty manageable once you get going, right? So again, $169 today or a $4.99 one-time payment. And this is where you want to go. The doors close at midnight on Thursday, right? The doors close at midnight on Thursday. I'm going to stick around for the next few minutes here to answer some questions that you might have about YouTube, about the course, but this is the only opportunity to get in. I don't know when it's going to open again, and it's definitely an amazing price point to get in at this payment plan option at $169 as well. So go ahead and check it out. smartpassiveincome.com/YouTube from scratch is where you want to go, or YTFS, excuse me. And it's only open for a couple days. It's sort of a flash sale, if you will, here during the summer. We weren't expecting to do this, but the demand, again, has been just so high. So smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. Yes. You just made my day, says Venetia. Thank you so much. What's the 4,000 hours? I missed it. So in order to qualify for YouTube monetization, again, you can do affiliate marketing or brand deals anytime. But for the YouTube ad platform, which is run through Google AdSense, you connect your Google AdSense account. There are videos in the course about exactly how to do all of that once you hit it. But you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time total from the previous year. So again, very easy number to hit if you are consistent with creating your videos, right? In the course, actually, let me show you a little bit about YouTube from scratch. Here we are. Your lessons are here and laid out for you. And as you can see in the lesson length, 14 minutes, 16 minutes, 13 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, short lessons to help you get started. And this is where we go into planning your YouTube channel, setting it up. In fact, I actually create a new YouTube channel here as an example. Probably my favorite lesson here is from Caleb. This is the How to Film library. So here we have certain videos like how to do face on camera and tips for face on camera stuff, how to do screen recordings, how to do vlogging, how to do top down or using B-roll. This is top down, so if you have overhead videos. So just a plethora of information here to help you as you get started. Some case studies as well. We dive deep into the analytics of my Pat Flynn channel and the Pokemon channel as well, how to monetize, and then also how to organize and edit. In fact, we show you how to edit these videos as well. So anyway, some amazing opportunities. And again, smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. So let's see, Shan has a question. Does it teach anything about editing? Yes, it does. Let me show you. So that would be create and set up your channel, publish your first video. So editing a YouTube video from scratch. And again, Caleb goes into heavy detail about that. That is his specialty. He is my editor. And yes, that is in there as well. It's platform agnostic. So whether you use Final Cut Pro to ScreenFlow to Adobe or iMovie, the principles are essentially the same that Caleb teaches you. Thank you, Pat. I have to bounce. We'll consider this, but my goal right now is to get that series up. Get it up, Nancy. As we just talked about, series are great because YouTube begins to understand that, oh, you create videos about this. Let's share one into another. On the Pokemon channel, for example, we have a series of videos where I purchase things from Etsy. And that was an experiment. We wanted to see how it went, and it went well. And guess what? When something goes well on your YouTube channel, create more videos like that. Every person should have their most popular video and then understand, okay, I need to create a second version of that or a series of these kinds of videos. And then you list them all together in a playlist. You connect them all together in the description, and YouTube will start feeding these. Like, they just become seeds that you plant that could all grow into this giant forest, right? Do you have any special deal for this webinar? This is a special deal, right? It's $169 today. If you are a student of any of my courses, then you're gonna see an email with a student discount code. It's the same one that we always use, but that's just for previous students of my courses. Do you cover Windows and Mac versions? I am Windows, thanks, yes. Again, the principles are basically the same. I can't figure out how to create videos on YouTube, so I have been uploading Zoom recordings. I need to be able to soften the video, and Zoom does that. So Zoom is okay. It allows you to capture video, but there are some video capture software that are gonna make it a lot easier and the quality much, much better. That's the downside of Zoom. Although it's very handy and very reliable, it's also not such a great quality of video. And for things like that, like I said, quality of video is not as important as your audio quality, because you could watch a bad video as long as you can hear it well, but you will not watch a good video that sounds bad, right? So audio is very important. We do go over that in the course as well. I need editing help through looking for that. Thank you so much, says Nancy. You're welcome. Mary says, yay. Let's see. Can you talk about the ratings on thumbnails? Is that YouTube rating them? You said 8 of 10, 9 of 10. I missed that. Yeah, so what happens, actually, I might be able to go into my YouTube channel right now and just like demonstrate this for you. So let's see if I can go into my Pokemon YouTube channel, and I should be able to show you if I go into, let's see, YouTube Studio, and you'll see that this video that was just published, which is the smallest Pokemon products in the world. Notice the thumbnail, not too many things going on. That tweezer was not initially red. We colored it red to stand out because it acts like an arrow. And I probably took 20 photos of me holding this little tiny Pokemon pack and different versions of where the card was. We actually initially showed the cards, but we ended up using the back of the cards because now it's a mystery, right? Anyway, it's getting 5 out of 10. So if I hover over here, you'll see that this video is performing 5 out of 10 for my previous 10 uploads, and that is 72,000 views just within 3 days, which is incredible, but not as good as this video where he sold me his entire collection, Worth It, which has 160,000 views within the same amount of time. And you can see here, suggested and browse. Those are terms by which you begin to understand where people are finding your videos, right? Search is very low on this particular channel. Search is much higher on the Pat Flynn channel, because when you create a video, as you'll see in the course, you have either approach of taking a search-based approach, which is, okay, if people are searching for a particular tool, cool, I'm gonna title it knowing people are searching for this. So I'm gonna add that name of the tool in the title. I'm gonna show a logo of that tool in the thumbnail, right? Because that's what people are searching for. But you can also create other videos that are about the same tool, just like that Descript one. I didn't mention Descript in the title, but it was about deep faking your voice, right? There's another video that I have on my on YouTube in general that fits that bill. If I go to youtube.com and best live streaming software for Mac, you'll see that there I am right there. 110,000 views from 2 years ago. And this is, again, about Ecamm Live, which is what I'm using right now, but which is kind of ironic. But this video just goes into specifically, here's the intro.
Riverside, Riverside.
Nope, that's an ad. Never mind. Okay, anyway, back to me. Again, you can get really deep in a lot of this stuff. And the whole purpose of this course is to remove the confusion and just go, hey, here's how you should approach this. Do it this way. Okay, do it. Once you're done with that, move on to the next lesson. Does the course go into LumaFusion? Is that an editor? Any editor that you have will work. Again, Caleb uses one in particular, but he speaks based on the principle of doing it because they all basically do the same thing. Nancy says, will past student email be sent in the next day or so? Yes, Nancy, absolutely. What mic do you use? Recommendations, ballpark? There are all types of different mics, but I like to use a couple mics. There's one called the Samson Q2U. If you just get a little stand for that or a boom arm like this one, that was weird. Then, I mean, that's a very, very economical microphone. Samson Q2U, that's a $60 microphone and it plugs in via USB. So you don't need all the other boxes and things that I have here for more heavy duty microphones. For video, I also like using a little shotgun mic. Do I have one here? Yeah, I mean, this one, as you can see here, is the Rode Video, what is this? Video Micro. And this one attaches to your device or camera, and it's basically a shotgun, so it just points at you and it just captures your voice. My other favorite one comes in this fun little Velcro thing right here. And this is a newer mic coming in. It's wireless, which I love, but it's the Wireless Go 2 from Rode. So this is the microphone, which can attach like here, for example. And this is the receiver. This plugs into your phone or your camera or wherever. And then you can just kind of set the camera down and walk around, and having this on your shirt or blouse or on your collar, this thing works well, and it has a huge range as well. That's, again, the Rode Wireless Go 2. Rode Wireless Go 2. Pat, are you familiar with NCH software, and would you recommend it? I'm not familiar with that, so I apologize. How long would someone expect to take to get to 1,000 subs, says Keith? You know, it's hard to share the answer to that because every channel is different, right? For the Pokemon channel, it took a couple weeks. For the Pat Flynn channel, it took over a year. For other new channels that are starting, I think if you have the approach of the click and stick strategy, like we talked about, you're going to set yourself up to see 1,000 subscribers just within a couple months, if not sooner. And again, it just takes one video that's finely tuned with a great title and thumbnail, and it retains people all the way through, and it helps YouTube do what it wants. One video could do it. Just one. It could be your next video, actually. Bought the course. Estío, awesome. Thank you so much for joining. This dude is a real thing. He really is answering the answers, not holding back. Appreciate it. Thanks, Pat. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate you. So happy to be back on one of your trainings, talks, and offers. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it. Yeah, we haven't done much of it, but you know, this course was several months in the making with Caleb and I, and we really wanted to deliver for you. And you'll see this course is not everything you need to know about YouTube. It's all that you need to know to get to 1,000 subs 4,000 hours of watch time to begin unlocking not just monetization, but bringing yourself and your authority and confidence in video from people who've done it before. So between Caleb and I, we have 19 years of YouTube experience that we're happy to share with you. Cool. How often should you be posting a video on YouTube? I would recommend once a week to start if possible, but if you can only do once every other week, that's fine. I mean, people like Mr. Beast and Mark Rober post once a month. Now, they're putting a lot of spectacle and putting a lot of money and research into these videos, which is why it's only once a month. But if you create a banger video once a month, even if you don't put a lot of money into it, as long as it does what it needs to do, that could be enough as well. You don't want to overextend yourself. I know people who start on YouTube and they're like, I'm going to post a video every day. I want to plant as many seeds out there. And then guess what? They do that for 30 days and then you never see them again. Not because something happened and they just are burned out, right? And we don't want that to happen. Do we go to your site to get the course? You go to the link that is on the screen. That'll redirect you and actually take you to a sales page, which should look like this. And as you can see, you can enroll for $4.99 or the installment plan at $169. Easy to follow, and you'll see all that's available there as well. And again, it's only open until Thursday. So that's that. You'll see the curriculum there and some answers to other questions as well. All right, last question of the day. How long do you get access to YouTube from scratch for? For life. You get access to it for life. So long as SPI is still around, you get access to that. And you also get access to office hours with me. That means every single week, starting next week, you'll be able to get access to me for 2 hours every single week. And you can ask questions. You can show me your thumbnails. We can just jam on that. And that's been something that a lot of the new students have been doing and really enjoying because we jam on thumbnails together, which is really fun. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you. The cool factor says 20th video on the channel is now over 360K views and was already monetized. Just don't quit. That's right. Just don't quit. Fit over 50. Do you think a camera with great autofocus will greatly improve setup? I film with an original which has no autofocus. Yes, autofocus for the win, right? If I go back here, if I go up here, you see that? Less editing for you to do, less finagling. Autofocus for the win. If you make updates, do we get the updates too, Melissa? Yes, all the updates you get. YouTube does change, so we want to keep it updated for you and not add a date. So yes, you don't have to pay anything extra for any of that stuff. So anyway, thank you again, everybody. I had such a great time with you today. I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you to all the new students coming in the course. You'll see some emails about that, but again, this is the link to go to, and you only have until Thursday. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. And I look forward to your videos too. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye.